Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is the 70th sabad from Asa Mahalla Panjwa, compositions of the 5th Nanak Guru Arjan in the Rag Asa. The recitation. Asa Mahalla Panjwa, Har Har Akhar Dui mala, Japat Japat Pae Deen Dayala, Karo Benanti Satgur Apni, Kar Kirpa Rakho Saranai, Moko Dehe Hare Har Japni Rahao, Har Mala Ur Antar Tare, Janam Maran Ka Dukh Nivaray, Hriday Samale Mukh Har Har Bolay, So Jan It Ot Katah Na Dolay, Kaho Nanak Jo Rache Nae, Har Mala Taake Sang Jaye, Kaho Nanak Jo Rache Nae, Har Mala Taake Sang Jaye. करो बेनती सतगुर अपनी, कर कृपा राखो सरनाई, मोको देहो हरे हर japni. So it is a plea to the Satgur, to Guru wisdom, to the guide, to have mercy, kar kirpa, and provide us with shelter, rakho sarnai, and moko deo, grant me, give me, hare har japani, the rosary of hare har, self-realization. So the shelter is that of self-realization, of self-knowledge, to protect us from our innate ignorance. So it's very interesting in how the Guru has used some of these terms. Har Har Akhar Dui mala. So Akhar means that which does not fade away. It is also used commonly to indicate a word or a letter or even a syllable. And so, within the context of the Indian systems, the syllable har or om is of great importance. It's the word, the shabad. And so when the Guru says Har Har Akhar Dui mala, what is being said is that har and har are both imperishable, strung together like the beads of a rosary. So har har, the repetition of har, is symbolic, signifies the paradoxical nature of the Supreme Being that we refer to as Ik Oankar. What is being said is that Ik is not separate from Oankar. They are tied together. They arise simultaneously. Nirgun aap sargun bhi ohi. So they are both imperishable because they arise together. They are like a garland. Eho doe eho mala. Japat japat bhai deen dayalla. By saying the beads of the rosary, in other words, through deep contemplation, through constant reflection, bhai deen dayalla, the realization of that merciful one comes about. What that means is one recognizes the non-duality of what appears to be a dual nature. Appears to be. So we have to be careful So the Guru is saying that they are like a rosary, beads of a rosary, never strung together. And the Guru is seeking that realization. Kar kripa rakho saranai, moko deho hare har japani. Now, in ordinary language, mala, japani refer to the rosary that is made out of wooden beads. It could be made out of cloth beads, knots, if you will. And it is quite common to see people carry a rosary wrapped around their wrist or held in their hand. And you can see people tell the beads of a rosary. There is a specific practice. And this way, the mind, it's a way to basically control the pendulum nature of the mind, if you will, because the mind is jumping back and forth. This becomes a way to control it, to bring in within certain boundaries. So rosary, Japani, refers to what people also practice. But here the Guru is talking about a different kind of rosary, a different kind of Japani. And that he explains in the following verse. He says, Har mala or antar tare, internalized. When this rosary of the Har is internalized, you might be actually telling the beads of a rosary on the outside, but it isn't going to matter. You can do it all you want, unless you internalize the message of good wisdom. So the internal and the external have to be in sync. Har mala or antar tare, antar, inside. Tare is to actually adopt, adornment. It should become your inner garment. Antar tare, then alone will you find freedom. Janam maran ki dukh nivare. Freeing yourself from the pangs of death and birth, because we are essentially fearful of death. It frees you from that fear. Hirday samale mukh har har bolle, so jan et ot kateh na dolle. So your mind, which is constantly wavering, will cease to waver. It'll become still when you enshrine these letters in your heart. The heart is the center. It is where you reflect eternity. It's in the core of your being. So when you are able to do that through this practice, so jan et ot kateh na dole, the mind becomes still. And when the mind becomes still, it realizes or recognizes its primal nature. It recognizes how strong it is, how pristine it is. And so that pristine nature emerges. And Guruji concludes by saying, Kaho Nanak, says Nanak, Jo rache nai, they who soak up nai. Nai here indicates qualities, divine qualities, because they're in the plural. Jo rache is to soak up, to become those qualities. Har mala taake sang jaye. Then this garland. Now you see there is symbolic here. He's painting an image. Taake sang jaye. When you depart, you actually are adorned with this garland. But what he is saying is that you have gained that transcendental consciousness. You have transcended the ego. You are free. On that note, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.